What's going on, everybody? Kody here with Retail Talks. Super excited to bring you another episode on the podcast. This week's topic I'm extremely passionate about and very excited to bring to you because just to really preface it, we're going to be talking about advanced data strategies for your retail business. And what it comes down to it is that when e-commerce really started coming onto the scene back in, let's call it late 90s, early 2000s, that was a major disruption in the retail space. When you think about business, it really never has been the same. I mean, I think that the number is somewhere around 15% of all goods, consumer goods, are bought online today, including the grocery category. And that maybe even is more now that COVID has happened and the grocery category, so many people are buying it online. Um, but the major thing is that was a huge revolution and a huge uh, basically just advancement in retail in that era. What I think is happening now, about 20 years later, is that we are going through another major disruption in the retail space, which is data. I don't think there's been a bigger disruption to the space than data, because of the fact that when you look at how data is used by the very brands that you probably sell in your store, to just competitors online, competitors in store, everything is very, very fierce and competition is very, very fierce. And data is a way to really level the playing ground with that. So, really, we're just going to go through a bunch today in episode 8 here on Retail Talks, and just to kind of go over those advanced strategies for using data as a retailer. But I just want to set that tone of like, this stuff is important. Data has a way, data allows you to compete at a way that maybe you've never even thought possible before. So that's kind of what I want to do today, is almost challenge you to think differently about your business and how you are growing your business. So let's just kind of start with what we're really going to cover. We're going to go over the data points needed to have an advanced approach. What data do I capture? We've had other podcasts about that, but I just want to revisit it. And then the platforms that can be used for the advanced data strategies, as well. And then what basically using that data in advanced ways can do for your business, to help you grow and to help you flourish. So let's really start with those, just again, revisiting that high level stuff of like, what data points do you need to capture? If I owned a retail business today, I would make sure 100% of the time I was capturing the phone number. And here's why. The phone number is the thumbprint. The phone number is that unique identifier to every single person on, kind of going into that second point, but we'll talk about it more in a minute. On the platforms that you're going to be using this data to match to people on, the thumbprint is the easiest way to match them because everybody only has one phone number. And a lot of people don't even have home phones anymore. They're giving you their cell phone number in the store. So that is a huge, huge aspect. So let's kind of go one level deeper. And also, though, I do want to hit on, when I hear retailers say, oh, yeah, we don't capture phone numbers, I think the biggest miss is that you're not using the phone number as the account number. Every single retailer and their brother nowadays uses the big retailers uses the phone number as the account number to look you up. So be using it that way to use them to look them up. And it also just generally adds value to the customer, and it adds value to your speed at checkout because you can actually like look up their account very, very quickly and have record of that. So the phone number is most important. The second most important data point is obviously the email. Not nearly as important as the phone number, but very important. Their name, first name, last name, split up. And then city, state, and zip code to drill them down to the specific city. You can get the home address information for direct mail, but for our purposes, I don't really care about the address. I just want the city, state, and zip. And then you obviously will have the transaction history from their checkout, and really just using that to to also target them, which we'll go into that based on what they bought. So let's kind of hit on the platform. So here at Omni, I mean, we work within Facebook, Instagram, the Meta suite of products, and then email and SMS. But these strategies are applicable on X, on Snapchat, on TikTok, on Google, on LinkedIn. All of these strategies are applicable across pretty much every platform, I think, besides TikTok, from what we'll talk about. And then, what using your data can do for your business, just to hit on that quick. I mean, it can do things for your business that you never even thought possible. Um, we've seen it with things because if let's just give you an example. If you are a retailer, we just onboarded a retailer yesterday that has 50,000 customers in their point of sale system. If we match, let's say half of that, 25,000 people, to a Facebook profile where we can place ads in front of them, you are just going to separate yourself and your business from your competition, because I'm telling you, your competition isn't even running ads, let alone getting into these advanced targeting strategies with data. So there's just a massive degree of separation that you can have, um, with this. So it just can, and it can really also insulate you and secure you from that attrition that you have with your customers going to competitors, because the more you can stay in front of them, the less they will go to your competition. So let's just kind of get into it. So let's talk about advanced targeting for a second, and really just look at what other retailers are doing, and really just how the Facebook and point of sale specifically ties in. So I kind of just hit on it just a second ago with that client example, but just really, like, do me a favor right now. If you're watching this and you're a retailer, if you have any questions, reach out. But download all of your Excel spreadsheet data, your point of sale data, excuse me, into an Excel spreadsheet, and just look up custom audience in Facebook and upload that data to Facebook. And then simply, like, go to the audience inside of Facebook and you can click run ads to, or I'm trying to think, I think it's just create campaign something. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what it says, but you could create an ad directly to those people and just begin to share more of your story. Keep in front of your existing customers to make sure that they never forget that you exist. Um, it's vital, vital, vital that you do that, especially if you're a good sized business. If you're a 3 to 5, maybe even $10 million plus retailer, you know, you have so much data and you can leverage this in such a big way that even smaller retailers just can't. But even if you're doing 500,000, a million, I think you really, for this to really pay off, you got to be doing at least $400,000 to $500,000 a year in sales as a retailer. Going closer to that million plus mark is really the sweet spot. But that is just the manual way to do it. Um, One of the other just more advanced strategies is segmenting your customer list across many different, basically, let's just call it channels from your business, based on what people buy, how much they spent, how frequently they purchase, when was the last time they purchased, what brand they bought, how many lifetime transactions do they have. Just really figuring out those 5 to 8 ways that you can really segment data, and then doing that inside of your business, downloading that to an Excel spreadsheet specifically for a campaign, because we work with a lot of shoe retailers. But if you sell physical products, download the people that bought Patagonia, that bought Brooks, that bought Merrill, like whatever brand it is, whatever brand you sell, it doesn't matter what the brand is or what the item is. If you have 827 people that have bought that brand, download all that information I talked about, download the phone number, download the address, download the name with the transaction history, and upload that for that specific product to advertise to those people. Because I think one of the things I genuinely, we've worked with hundreds of companies. I have never seen one, and I mean this, not one person doing this prior to working with them, segmenting in a way their audiences for targeting that is just really, really dialed in and really, really specific. If you're a small business, you don't need to drill down that much, because you could maybe only have 5,000 customers in your point of sale system. So just targeting everyone is fine. You don't need to segment it down to 327 people and target those people. That's too small of an audience on Facebook. Um, but that's really, really big. And you can segment people. This is another key thing that we do. I'm just going to kind of rattle off some of this stuff, but think about it in the lens of your business and the context of your business. Where does most of your revenue come from around you? What zip code? What city? Obviously, it's going to be the city you're in, but what's the second most populated city for purchases? Is it a neighboring city that's 23 minutes away that you didn't even know? Like, wow, we draw a lot of people from this city. Maybe your town's more of a destination. You can target more people in that area. Maybe you find that 12% of your business comes from a specific zip code. There are those things of just drilling down in your data and taking a couple hours to better understand this. We have automated tools to do all this for you at Omni, and it makes it easier, of course, and a bit of a plug, but you can do all of this completely for free on your own time too. Just by looking at basically where I would really start is looking at your top 5 brands that you sell, because those top 5 brands are probably at least 50% of your sales. So drill down on those individuals, segment those 5 brands individually, and then target, just constantly be running 2 to 3 pieces of creative, 2 to 3 ads, video and still image and graphics towards those people that have purchased that brand. And it's going to be a really, really, really good campaign. But segmentation is huge in figuring out all the different ways you can segment within those core data points that I talked about, within phone number, name, email, address, then getting into, okay, people that have bought only one time ever from my business. Okay, that could be one. People that are in the top 20% of my customers that spend the most amount of money with me per year. Okay, what do I show to them? And it's just really drilling down in that from the strategy perspective on what then do you say to them? What piece of creative do you put in front of them, whether it's graphics or video, which is really, really big. And then one of the other more advanced strategies that we use here at Omni is taking your customer list, because let's say you live in a town of 250,000 people or even 100,000 people. It doesn't really matter. But the town that you live in, really anything over 50,000, I guess it does matter, because if it's under 50,000, this isn't really applicable because the audience would be too small. But you can create a lookalike audience based off of your customers, because let's say that you live in a town of 250,000 people. To target every single one of those people you'd have to spend a lot of money. But what you could do is create a lookalike audience based on those people. And what that would do is it would look for people in your area that are similar to the people that have shopped with you before but have never been into your store before. Because when you create a lookalike audience, none of the people in the audience you created it from will be in that audience. So that is a very advanced strategy that performs extremely well. And that's how we run all of our new customer targeting here at Omni, is running ads to those people that look like the individuals that have shopped at our clients' stores before. So all you do is you go into the audience section of Facebook and you do create lookalike from that. So very, very easy, and you can use that for your new customer targeting. So I haven't really talked a little bit about obviously the Facebook side. I haven't really talked about the email or texting side. Everything I always say, and that's why I mentioned LinkedIn and X and Snapchat and Google. Everything I say is applicable on every single advertising platform, including Klaviyo, the tool we use for email and texting. You can segment your retail data based on the brand they bought, when they last shopped, how much they bought, the SKU they bought, everything. It's very, very granular, and you can do segmented emails in that. So if you want to target people that have just bought Brooks running shoe in the past, just send an email to them on the Brooks release, or maybe you're now doing discounted product. That would be a very, very good email, is sending to people that have bought Brooks in the past, sending an email to them based on what they bought. So let's get into really just some common questions that we typically hear. So what data points are the most important to have when performing advanced strategies? We kind of talked about this. Phone number, phone number, phone number. Get the phone number from the individual and use that as the account number. I'm telling you, long-term for your business, like I would go so far as to say, if you were to sell your business and you had phone numbers on everybody, you'd maybe even double the value of your business if the person that bought it knew what to do with it. Number 2, what type of platforms are the best for advanced targeting? Email is really, really, really good, because those advanced targeting strategies, will give you that ability to segment the email so that people are less likely to unsubscribe, which is obviously really big. Facebook is great because they have so much data on us, from our relationship status to what we buy, pages we search for, everything. It's very, very, very data rich. So Facebook is huge for this. How do I get to the top 2% of retailers that utilize their data the best? In my opinion, I think it's the way you really do it is you get to where the audience is in the creative match up. So again, you're having the Brooks audience with a Brooks ad. If you're doing that, you're probably in the top 0.2%, not even necessarily 2%. So, really, really big there. Um, what are the common misconceptions and doubts people have when it comes to using their data? I think it's just I think it's just the lack of understanding of what it can actually do. Um, you gotta go to a place that you understand as a retailer if you've never done these strategies we're talking about, which is direct mail. Why do you do direct mail? You do direct mail because it's very focused, it's very specific, it's very targeted when you're sending that to your customers. I bet you if some people watching this, they spend tens of thousands of dollars a year on direct mail when it costs basically for the same cost on Facebook, it's a 15th as much of the cost. To reach 1,000 people with direct mail, you're looking at probably 50 or excuse me, 500 bucks, 400 or 500 bucks. To reach 1,000 people on Facebook, you're going to spend, I don't know, 20 bucks, 15 bucks. It's a 20/30th of the cost. So we're in a very unprecedented time where this stuff is extremely, extremely cheap. And I haven't seen it really go up in the 6 to 8 years I've been doing this. Like, implement these strategies. You will fall behind if you don't. Because we're helping our clients implement these, and we're only working with more and more businesses. You watching this, if you implement it, you will get ahead of your competition. Uh, is using my data the only way I can keep my business afloat growing in 2024 and onwards? Certainly not. Certainly not. If you don't do this, it's not it's not dire. But remember what I said at the beginning of the episode. It really is getting to that point where data, in my opinion, is very similar to the way e-commerce was in the early 2000s. This is the next major, major advancement outside of social media, in the mid 2000s, but this is pairing with that. So it's almost like, you're using a huge advancement, which is social media, and putting it on steroids when you use your own data, against that. So, using your data in advanced ways can be extremely helpful to keep your existing customers shopping frequently and getting new customers in the door at a faster rate. It's important to ask yourself, what can I do to use my data more? Just ask yourself that. That's maybe the biggest takeaway from this is, what can you do to use your data more? Because here's the thing, this is the final thing I'll say, and is that your direct competition in the brands are figuring out every day how to use data better and better and better and better. And if you're not, it's just the advancement, the compounding of that, of them doing that for years, is the attrition of the customers you lose to them directly. Period. The only reason someone would buy directly from a brand is three reasons: convenience, cost/speed, and they're just in front of them more. Data, targeting, ads. Um, the D2C brands are amazing at using their data, and it shows in the decline in individual shopping in store, and it shows in the percentage of their revenue in the Birkenstocks, the Ons, the Decker brands. We work in the shoe space a lot. When you look at their publicly traded filings, you can see the percentage of their business that comes online in store. Like, I don't know what else to say outside of that. You have to use data. Make it convenient for them to shop with you. That makes it more convenient. You're playing against that strategy of constantly being in front of them that the D2C brands do. So, really appreciate you listening. The top takeaway today is just begin to segment your data, begin to look at how you can use your data more, how can you leverage that from a targeting perspective. Like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you next time on Retail Talks. Again, your host, Kody Fitzgerald, and we'll see you on the next one.